Sound like that horn just said, seats. It's giving commands. Cujo just jumped up.
What if Cujo did that?
9. All right. So, hey everybody, welcome back. Last episode was pretty rockin'. Lots of good stuff. This week has been exciting. Lots of cool things going on right now. We've got like major overhauls going on at the Good Dog. All good overhauls,
All
not
good.
the kind of like overhauls
Yeah,
where
yeah.
like things are dark and bad news,
Terrifying.
right? And you're like, we're restructuring. Nothing like that. All great stuff. The DVD that we people have been writing like, you guys are doing a really good job of creating tension and anticipation. And I'm like,
we have some tension too.
it's no master plan.
No.
Trust me. It's all about trying to get her done.
Yep.
And if it's creating tension, well, that's awesome. But that's not the plan. We're super duper close.
So close to it.
What would you say, like the digital download? If you were gonna like be a gambling betting woman, what would you like ballpark
I'm gonna
it?
say second week of December.
Second week of December.
Or no, because that's in 2 weeks. So maybe like third week in December.
Wow, that's like Christmas, really, for
Well-
the download.
Like the 15th of December. So the end of the second week.
We just keep lying and lying and lying. First,
Thing
it's
is,
like
we're-
October,
it's not
November.
like we're procrastinating and not getting it out. It's that we've got major stuff that we added. We're
Yeah.
doing more work on the PDF than we
The
thought. we would
PDF
be
is really
doing.
like a book. Like, let me let me try and see if I can just kind of like, I had some people ask some kind of funny questions, like, so what's taking so long? It's like, the PDF is literally like a book.
It's a book.
Right? So we're not just like putting together like, here's some like us like training a dog on e-collar. We've got a book basically in the PDF that's going to help you work through this step by step and really have a comprehensive understanding of what we're doing. Plus, the way we put it together, we're so fixated on you guys being able to take what we know how to do and be able to put all those pieces together. So many of the DVDs that I looked at initially or early on when I was trying to learn this stuff left there a lot of holes for me,
Yeah.
right? Maybe other people did better than I did, but a lot of things I struggled with.
Yeah.
So what we've tried to do is really remove all the holes, putty them up, and make it super easy that you guys, putty up those holes, that you guys could very easily, I won't say very easily, but that it would be very simple and easy to follow. It's
Yeah.
still hard work. It's
Yeah.
still like a lot of effort involved, but we're really pulling out all the
fact that
stops.
it is hard work and it's a lot of effort for your average owner is the reason why we're putting so much work into making it easy to follow
Yeah.
and really step by step. So all this stuff, all this time we're taking and stuff, we're just trying to make it better because the last thing we'd want is to rush it and have it be not great.
I just think you guys are all going to be knocked out. I'm super proud of it. We're both super proud of it.
So proud.
And it's coming down the pike. So hang tight, getting close. Beyond that, let's see what else we got. We're totally revamping our content. I think we touched upon this last week.
Yeah.
But if anybody, hopefully you guys are following us, you'd see on Facebook or Instagram, we're really overhauling all of our stuff. We've got a noisy guy. Oh, and there's a girl back there. It's Brittany. It's Brittany. Brittany wants to be on the show. Brittany's going to come over and answer the next 5 questions for us. Surprise guest.
She's
like,
tiptoeing out.
and I'm out of here. I'm writing most of the text and the content, the blog posts and the tips and the what are they? And
all
the
the
quotes
written
and all that
stuff,
stuff.
yeah.
And then I fire it off to Laura Morgan. She puts her magic touch on it, creates these great images. She takes great photographs. Everybody's complimented you, by the way,
Oh,
like up
great.
the yin yang about your photographs, right? I don't know if you've seen all those comments,
Britt's
but
leaving.
bye, B.
Bye, B.
There's 5 questions for you. And then beyond that, we've got Mr. Enrique Marquez out here. Enrique joined us. He made the 3-week Mayflower trip from the old world to the new world. We've got some big plans coming up with him down in New Orleans and some things like that are going to be very exciting. Well, everybody thinks that we're being lazy over here and just resting on our laurels. There's big plans afoot. The good dog has got a whole lot of stuff cooking. So just you hold on to your, I don't know what it is, hold your pantyhose or whatever it would be that you'd hold on to, or men, your lederhosen or something like that, right? If you're German. If you're German, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog wearing 0 lederhosen. And to the right of me, lovely, lovely, lovely and talented, photographic, amazing ingenue Laura Morgan.
Ingenue?
Yeah, you know,
Wow, I
hey,
like
just
that.
toss it out.
Hey.
And she's over here playing Angry Birds like usual.
No.
And all this good stuff that you can't see, a little wine, a little water.
Literally see my note.
What's your note? Sean, no. Uh-oh.
Okay.
See, just so everybody knows, and I try and say this every episode because I don't want anybody to think that Laura's like, this show's
like
boring,
texting
and I'm
and
just
like,
like,
no.
hey, Sue, what do you think? I was just watching Housewives and da 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 da. No, she's actually what she's doing is she's putting all the questions together and formatting everything,
but
and
I edit the show, so I have to remember things that I have to like remember to put in, take notes, like, oh, what are the questions, you know, things like that. So I if I don't do it now, then I might miss something when I'm editing. So like Sean and Lederhosen would be a really great picture for me to put together.
Things are taking an ugly turn. Anyways, all this good stuff is the Good Dogs Q&A Saturday, episode number 59. Really? Like, well, I've got some problems here. 59.
That's a 9.
Do you hear that? What's wrong with you? See, there's worry. There's concern. 59. I got a lot of good skills. This is not one of them.
Just like you put 6 fingers up. Like, I'm not even saying...
I'm not sure why.
I know, it's just weird. It's like, I'm not asking you to, like, be a mathematician.
I'm really good at this. I can answer good questions, right?
You know what I think it is, though?
What?
You get stressed. I can tell you get stressed because you're like, it's episode number.
No, honestly, like, I don't feel stressed. I was excited to explain, hey, we got...
quick.
8 fingers
8
quick?
fingers. Nice.
It's
you
not...
had to repeat it back to me while you thought about it.
What do you mean? Did I say it?
You're like, 8 fingers, quick, as you're thinking.
A little slight delay. Buying a little time. So let's jump into the show because I got a comment from somebody, Aria, last time. She was like, I had to skip through a lot of stuff, but I found something I liked. So apparently...
I'm sorry, Aria. We're so sorry that
Watch out. No, I think she was just saying like there was stuff that she found maybe not intriguing.
Or maybe I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She's like, some of these questions I understand the answers to.
She's probably heard them before. Yeah, I mean we
skip.
cover some familiar ground and things like that. So don't go to the ugly place straight away. So, but she said she enjoyed, like she got a great question out of it.
Aria. If we can help you for a little bit, then we're here for you.
Yeah. Even if you think all other 9 suck crap.
I just think like out of all the things you could say, I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
But yeah.
Out of all the things to say about like the show.
Yeah.
To be like, I had to skip a lot of crap. You know what I mean?
I find it really funny, actually.
I think it's awesome, and it's probably something that I would think. But Aria, you're more bold than me.
Yeah.
I love you for it, and I love your name.
I think, I love her name too. I think it would be fabulous if Aria was like, here's the great communication like style. It's like, really love the intro. There was some funny stuff. You guys got me giggling.
Right.
A lot of questions I'd already heard before. Still find them valuable, but I skipped ahead because there was something that was more novel for me, and that's where I really gleaned my most information
just a great show, guys.
Can you tell we're sensitive? We're
West Coast sensitive.
Right, we're really sensitive, right?
From the
right?
East Coast.
Yeah.
Every time we do a seminar on the East Coast and someone says something to us, we're like,
pass me a tissue.
Can we go to therapy together?
Pass me a tissue.
What do we have to talk about?
So, truth is, we're sensitive, all right? So, Aria, be gentle with us in the future, okay?
We love you and your
Or else we'll cancel the show and we'll blame you for it. So, shall we get into the first question?
Yes, please.
Before we totally destroy this whole thing we've created?
All right.
All right, you ready to jump in? Do you know I got a compliment on looking very svelte last episode?
It's because you asked them to say that.
I did not.
At the end of the episode, you said maybe someone could comment on how I've lost 15 pounds. It'd be really nice.
Did I really?
Yeah.
No, I was fishing. No. Sorry.
So it doesn't
I thought it was unsolicited. Yeah.
It's like, that's why we were like, people are saying nice stuff about your hair. I'm like, because I'm sitting there going, say nice stuff about my hair. They're all kind human beings.
Okay, well, I thought I forgot about that part of the show. I just thought somebody was like, hey, you look great. I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
Sean, you look amazing. Everyone who sees him in person is like, holy crap.
What you don't realize is this whole thing has been a constructed fishing moment right now, just to get
right
you to
here.
say that. I'm a mastermind.
Question number 1. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, Aria.
Aria's like,
Joanne says, hello again, Sean and lovely Laura.
hey.
Greetings from the tumbleweeds. You are definitely very, very high on my list of things.
That's her dogs, by the way, in case
her
anybody
dogs,
doesn't know.
Yeah. You're very, very high on my list of things to be thankful for this
So
Thanksgiving.
sweet. That's awesome.
The tumbleweeds and I are wondering what your thoughts are in allowing a dog to gnaw on a nylabone or something else while on place command. Would it be like disciplining a teen by sending them to their room when they have a TV, phone, and internet in there? Does it negate the point of duration work?
Well, duration work isn't supposed to be like solitary confinement and bread and water.
Yeah.
So
it's not a punishment.
No.
So there's no like sending a teen to his room and saying you've been bad. That would be like, okay, you got to unplug the internet, but
yeah.
place command's not that.
Enrique's chuckling from the back. You
allow
like
you.
that one, right? You got a little bit of support.
No, he didn't. That was Cujo coughing.
Oh, was it?
Enrique's not listening.
Enrique, sorry, he fell asleep over there. He's like, first question, and he's like, I'm with Aria. Anyways.
He is Aria. That's
right?
his alias
Code
on
name?
that.
He's like, yeah, Aria. Did you guys get a guest on the show for add a little spice? Okay. Joanne. So here's the thing. So if you've got like, it's a really great question. We get this question a lot when clients come in. So if you've got a dog, like, or I should say, like, if we've got a dog, or if you've got a dog that you just brought into training and you're trying to teach the dog place, and the dog, like, typically when dogs come in for training and stuff like that, they're out of their tree, they're all wound up, they're anxious, they're stressed, they haven't decompressed yet.
Right.
Dogs like that, they need more just no stimulation, right? Like, go to place, zip it up, be quiet, sit there for 2 hours, take it easy, let the brain decompress, get into a meditative state, and let it all go.
Yep.
So for those dogs, I'd say no. Now, for a solid dog, if you've got one of your tumbleweeds or a dog that you've brought in as like a rescue dog or something like that, once you get them to a really solid state, they're really balanced, they're really cool, and they can be in place and be very comfortable, I've got no problems with a chew bone or whatever that your dog fancies. That said, as long as your dog doesn't get worked up and like all like crazy and like start rolling around on place and ends up rolling out the front door or something with its chew bone. If the chew bone makes a dog like bananas, then no. But if your dog can hang in place and pacify itself and you've already got the dog into a good spot where the mind is really balanced out, I think it's perfectly great.
I put Herc and Cujo on place all the time for a bone or a treat. All the time, because I want them separated anyway.
Right.
If they have a bone, and they're in place just hanging out for an hour or so while I do work, and they're chewing on their bones, all is well. But that's we're pretty far down the line, but so are you. So. Yeah,
but it just goes to show like there's nothing wrong with it, and I think like to get back to what you said at the very top of Joanne's question is that it's not a punishment.
Yeah.
It's a training behavior that helps dogs calm down, relax, chill out, get into a meditative state, all that stuff. So think about it more like that as an airplane lands on our house. Think about it more like that than it is like kind of a punitive thing. And I think you'll be fine. So chew bones are cool. Stay away from the rawhide. Rawhide's dangerous.
Yeah, nylobone's great. Cool.
That's it.
Thanks. Nice. All right.
I'm all revved up. You know what? Like, these folks don't know, but like, I was really worried this was gonna be a low energy.
Really? Oh yeah, that's right. You were so like you were trying to punch me and stuff.
I wasn't trying to punch. I was doing like pull-ups. I was dancing
like,
around. I asked you to slap me. I was like, slap me around. Because I was up all night with
the wolfhound.
Yeah. So we've got this unique dog, and this dog has got major separation anxiety and crate stuff and destroying the crate and going bananas. And literally, this guy right here was up all night with an iPad connected to a camera in the kennel with an e-collar and working this dog through all night long. And then in the morning getting out and like trying to take the dog out and the dog like battling. So not a lot of sleep, but I think that I'm pulling a pretty nice like energy vibe right now.
Great.
right? Thanks, I'm fishing again.
Sorry, Arya. Okay, question number 2. This is from
Arya,
Denise.
It's getting bad.
Denise says, no.
You do.
Denise says, what is the best way to train your dogs to not jump? It's just a fun one to blame it on her.
Right.
Actually, Arya, you and I, because now I can be like, Sean, Arya.
Right. You can kind of like prompt me to move quicker. Arya doesn't like when you go long in the tooth. All right, hold it up. Arya, to be perfectly frank, we love having these kind of moments because they give us some spice to work with.
Oh, sure.
So give us your best shot.
Give us your best shot. All right, Denise says, what is the best way to train your dogs to not jump on people when they walk in the house and stay back from the door? Thanks in advance.
The best answer is to not have people at your house.
Ever.
Close your door, lock the door,
no
and
friends.
Change your number.
Dogs are enough.
Right. Yeah, human beings just get in the way, right? So, okay, 2 answers. All that silliness aside. Sorry, Arya. 2 real answers. One is train like a really like badass place command and enforce it either with leash and prong or e-collar and get your dog to where your dog is in a really high state of like, and it doesn't have to take long. I think everybody thinks this training stuff takes like forever to do. Right. You can have a bomb-proof place command in 1 week, right? Like, I mean, a dog like that was nuts in 5 days ago will sit in place while people walk in your house and have no issues. So of course there's exceptions. There's dogs that are out of their trees and that are going to put you through your paces and that kind of stuff. But that's like your more like comprehensive, super healthy, highfalutin, less like symptomatic attacking choice and more of like going after the problem choice, right? But it's more work.
Right.
The other option, and we are talking about jumping on guests, right? I'm just checking.
Yep.
So the other option is to simply go after the moment, the issue, right? And what I would do with that is you either do e-collar or you do leash and prong, right? And we deal with jumping dogs all the time, and it's so easy to fix, right? So if you don't have e-collar on board, then do leash and prong. And just think about it this way, right? I posted something today that says make the good stuff comfortable and make the bad stuff uncomfortable. And as far as like dog training 101. And if you really think about dog training that simply, it's so easy to problem solve stuff and generalize things that like, oh, what would I do here? Well, a dog's jumping up. I don't like that. That's a bad thing. Let's make it uncomfortable. And a dog not jumping, let's make that comfortable, right? So the easy way to do it, like for $30, is get a prong collar, fit it on your dog, let your dog drag the leash, guests come in, you walk to the door with your dog. Got somebody else. Could be a mystery Indian food delivery. I wish.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, hey, we know you guys are hungry. Yeah.
Best mystery ever.
Right? Leash and prong. Hercules. Leash and prong on your dog, and then keep the leash really loose. Let your guests come in. Dog makes a mistake to jump up. You just pop straight down, nice and sharp. No. You can say no, but it's mainly about what your conversation is with the leash, which is basically saying, no, don't jump up, right? Dog jumps up, pop, and your dog goes, whoa, jumping up is really uncomfortable. Yeah. You do that a couple times with a firm pop, and then you'll watch your dog mingle around guests, and it's fascinating to watch. You'll watch your dog move around human beings that are excited, and the dog might be excited, and you'll watch your dog make decisions. You'll watch your dog go like, I want to jump, I won't jump. I want to jump, I won't jump. We see it all the time. And it happens in about 30 seconds if you do a firm correction enough that your dog prioritizes and cares about it. Now, so that's leash and prong. You can do it with e-collar as well. E-collar involves a little more work. That means you've got to do some kind of conditioning prior, which like I typically recommend like either e-collar heel or e-collar recall, and you do that for a week and condition, get the dog solid, and then you can start correcting for any of that stuff. And to be honest, like e-collar corrections for jumping are the easiest, most neutral. You can be sitting across the room, so your dog.
Not you doing it; it's the jumping that's doing
it. Right. So your dog doesn't feel like, oh, you've got to be right next to me to correct me. You can be sitting on the couch. Your guests come in. Your dog jumps up, tap the button. Your dog's like, jumping up sucks. Okay, I'll just like hang out with people instead of jump up on them. So those are the solutions: place command, If you want to go like hardcore and like really like train some more stuff and get a more balanced dog in general.
Yep.
Leash and prong if you want to go more lo-fi. It's more like handler intensive and you got to be right there on the job. Or e-collar, condition it a little bit with recall, and then you can start correcting for jumping.
Yep.
That's the answer to that one, Denise.
Ooh, Denise.
Am I moving okay, like time-wise?
Rocking.
Right?
Rocking.
Because last time I was dragging.
Just ask.
Just ask Aria.
All right.
What are we drinking tonight? Do we want to share with everybody?
Well, I mean, Chateau Saint-Michel.
You picked this up from 7-Eleven? their wine cellar?
I didn't get it. Enrique treated us to a bottle of that.
When he got locked out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's a good story.
Aria will make this quick, but Enrique was...
We're going to get so much hate mail from Aria.
Aria,
she's like,
she
you're dead to me.
No, she's
dead.
East Coast, so she loves us. So Enrique went to the store to make a wine run. Not like we need a wine run.
Right when I said things were changing over here, the truth is they're changing in a bad way.
That sounds so like college.
Right.
The beer run.
We're just trying to get through the day, baby.
No.
No, we actually had food. We'd ordered Indian for our 4,000th time, and we wanted a little wine to drink with dinner.
Yeah.
And so we sent our good buddy Enrique out, and Enrique promptly got locked out of his own vehicle, and so
we ended up drinking the wine.
So Laura went to 7-Eleven and
got another bottle. Because we were like, he might be gone for 2 hours.
Or 2 days. And priorities are priorities, right? We got to have wine with dinner.
We have our Indian coming, so
But we made sure he was safe and sound
yes.
and all that good stuff.
All right.
Sorry,
Question
Aria.
number 3. Donna says, we've been battling dog reactivity with my Shepherd mix Hobbs and have made lots of progress, but are still having problems with barking dogs with high-pitched barks that remind me of a squeaky toy. He doesn't return insults, but goes silent and lowers his body like he's honing in on a squirrel. I do an about turn to try to regain his focus, but he whines and keeps trying to refocus on it. What's the best way to deal with this? Is it an offshoot of his dog reactivity or something else? He's much better at not reacting with bigger dogs, but it's the under 15-pound crowd that's causing most of the reaction. His silence bothers me more than if he had exploded with vocal hysterics, which was his usual MO, but then I could just be overreacting. Wow, you've done great work, Donna.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's funny that the silence bothers her more.
Yeah.
She's like, something's brewing.
She's smart. Yeah,
right.
That's great.
The silence is where they,
Yep.
Silence is where all the trouble lurks. Okay, so I wrote some notes for you, and I want to make sure I kind of jump through here. So whether it's prey drive or dog reactivity, like honestly, I don't put a whole lot of mental focus on that, because for me it doesn't really matter. The approach is going to be the same. So whether it's prey drive or whether it's dog reactivity or whether it's like I've got it out for white fluffy 15-pound and under dogs, I don't care. I just want to address the issue and make sure I get it sorted out, right? So like I said, I'd address it the same way no matter what. E-collar heel is your answer. Anytime we've got reactivity stuff, we always go to e-collar heel. It's like, we were just watching a Jeff Gelman video, the one that you just put out, where that pity mix was. Yeah, Ellen, who's coming up in the show.
Yep.
Ellen, big shout out to you for being at Jeff's RV dog trainer thing.
Yeah.
And I think they did e-collar heel, and that really helped sort that dog out.
E-collar and sheep prong with the dog, but yeah.
Yeah. So, but e-collar heel is like really where it's at. If you've got reactivity stuff, like if you watch the show, you've heard us say it a million times, like any dog with reactivity stuff, we always go to e-collar because it helps de-escalate the dog tremendously, right? So here's where I'd go. E-collar heel, watch our video. It's Fusa, the German Shepherd. I think it's like e-collar heel with Fusa, the GSD, something like that. That's on our website, www.thegooddog.net. Free do-it-yourself videos. Check that out. And then get that nailed down, right? Like, don't just mess around with it. Get that e-collar heel, like, rocking and rolling. You get that really solid, you get that dog to heel really nice, get it to like hang in a really good position, relaxed, calm, not pushing against it. You've got such a state of mind shift with your dog that it'll be in such a different gear. You'll have way more leverage for success with anything that you come across. That's your first step, right? Everybody's like, we got to nail this like reactivity stuff. We got to like No, 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 no. You got to calm your dog down, get your dog respectful, deferential, tuned into you. That is your first step. So e-collar heel, nail that down. After you're rocking that, you want to correct for any deviation from the heel position, right? So, and that means whether it's ears up, forehead wrinkled, focus, tension, change in breathing. You like that? It's from my old days when I used to like make inappropriate phone calls. Or leaning down and doing any of that stalking stuff or any. It's all monkey business, right? It's all like your dog, like. I get it. Your dog's like, oh, cool. There's this dog, and it's making me feel. It doesn't matter. It's like you're in a heel, right? You look that way. No.
Correct.
If you move out of the heel position, heel, correct. If you dive down, I'm going to roll up, heel, correct. Move your butt and walk with me.
Yeah.
It's so simple. So, and I don't mean that in a like negative or derogatory sense towards you. I just mean it's more simple, I think, than we make it, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter that he's like, hey, is that a squirrel on, like with a fluffy white jacket? And I'm going to like kneel down. It doesn't matter. It's like, if you get a behavior you're not liking, correct it, get rid of it, and get your dog back into position. If you've trained it appropriately, like what heel means, correct him, get him back in that mode. Yeah. So, like I said, after rocking that, correct for any deviation, and do it at the first moment. Cujo! Do it at the first moment of, first moment of change in behavior or transgression, right?
And first, because the reality is the e-collar.
Let's get you in on this show.
All right. So what you're doing really is giving information. It's not just about punishment. I think the reason why the e-collar can get such a bad rep is everyone just thinks of it as punishment.
Right.
Or training as punishment, like Joanne asked before about place command. So the e-collar, you're also giving information. It's like if I was walking down a dark alley and I was starting to like get kind of concerned, and I'd Sean go, hey, knock it off. Or even just tell me, just like, hey, you're good. Everything's okay. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
But you see who's moving behind that trash can?
Right. You make me more paranoid.
You might want to move. We might want to get out of here.
No, but I mean, the reality is, your dog, who's done a lot of great work, is getting concerned about these dogs or interested or what do I make of this or whatever. You need to, it's not just correct him because you're mad or because he's being bad. It's like, hey, help him out. Yeah, don't do that. You don't need to do that. Let's keep going.
I like to think of it as blocking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of people think about it as like punitive or punishing.
Yeah.
I really think about it as blocking or relaxing. And I know a lot of people think that I'm like trying to get creative with wording to try and help it like sell it in a more soft way. We watch it every single time we go out with a dog that gets tense, nervous, freaked out, stressed out, anxious around another dog or any other trigger, correct? And the dog goes from...
Yeah. How nice
would
it be for
How
you?
is that a negative experience when you take a dog from a stressed out, peaked place to a calm, relaxed space? Yeah. So I think that's how you kind of have to think about the e-collar in order to feel better about the process and then correcting at valuable levels to make sure that the dog like moves through like what we talk about like a state change.
And if you're not doing the e-collar, you can do the same thing with the prong. Right?
You can, but it's
a little different.
Yeah,
but
and you can hit limitations too.
If she's had a dog that's been screaming and crazy, and then she added a prong and things are great, because she said before, what he would do is like vocalize and be crazy,
right.
And now he's not. So if he's reacting great to the prong, just remember you can correct for that slow like stalking stuff too, and you're great.
It's such a common thing.
Yeah, especially shepherd, right?
And it's really monkey business central. Like that stalking thing, like
we don't need it.
No bueno.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're done.
Thanks.
Aria, how we doing? We keeping your attention this time?
We'll check with her later. Aria. All right. We've got question number 4 from Jolene. Jolene says, hello, we adopted a corgi mix about 5 months ago.
Yep.
Corgis, they crack me up.
Do.
She's 9 months old now. She's pretty anxious, stressed pup. She's developed what I think is an unhealthy dependence on me and follows me around the house everywhere. It drives me nuts. She has a fear of the men in our household. She plays with them fine when I'm home, but cowers, hides, pees, and poops when I leave the house and she's left in the care of my husband or father-in-law. They love her very much.
Sounds like me in high school.
Zing!
Pow! It's a space shuttle. I don't know if you knew it was landing again, but...
All right. So the men that love her very much and are hurt and frustrated by her behavior towards them.
Yeah.
My husband says she acts like I'm a serial killer when you're not here. How can I fix this so everyone's happy?
I'm just gonna say, like, I'd really like to make this Laura's secret surprise question, but I think it's a brutal one. This is like some of the hardest stuff, Jolene. You know, like it brings me back to like Ruby 2 and a few of the other dogs that we've had that've been like massive, like fearful cases, especially with men in the house. Like Ruby 2 was a dog that was great with all the females in the house, both the mom and the younger girls, but the dad always struggled, and so it's a challenging one. So I'm just going to put that out there. First of all, I wrote you some notes because it's a little more complicated. So let me run through these and hopefully they help. Okay, so I have you step back tremendously interaction-wise, right? Because you're saying like when you're around, dog's cool, dog follows you everywhere, dog's obviously overly attached to you, overly dependent on you, and then when you're around, it's cool. When you're not, then the guys in the house are problematic. So you're kind of a piece of this puzzle, right? So I would massively step back from your kind of like interaction level with this dog. I would train place command. You can watch it on our free videos, do-it-yourself videos, www.thegooddog.net. Do-it-yourself videos will show you and walk you through step by step. You can do it leash and prong and not spend a ton of money. But if you haven't trained place command for a fearful, nervous, insecure dog, you're missing out on so much mojo that could like change your dog's life, build confidence, build tolerance of stress. Like, I'm just telling you, we do it all day long and we watch what kind of magic it creates. Don't allow any following, right? You're exacerbating or allowing or enabling a behavior that's unhealthy for your dog, right? So that's like a child, a child that, mommy, I don't want to go to school, and just holds on to your leg, and you say, well, Johnny, you don't have to go to school because I know it's scary, so you can just hold on to my leg. And I'm not, Jolene, I'm not like saying like that's like your choice. I'm just saying I know she's following you around, but I want you to see it in that kind of context, that following around is really not healthy. It's really it's a negative state for your dog. So let's be really conscious of that, okay? And then this is a hard one. I would like negate all the affection stuff from you. Basically what's going on is like female energy is so much more comfortable for fearful dogs that they gravitate and glom on and they're magnetized to females.
Like, that's it.
It feels so good for fearful dogs to hang around with females that the male energy becomes this big contrast. And if you give them all this stuff, all this female stuff, then the guys don't have a shot at it because their contrast is so poor in comparison to yours. So you really need to pull back, not allow the following you, put the dog in place, and then really step down the affection. Like I would, for right now, at the beginning, I'd get it gone. I would just be like, there's a dog that lives in my house. I love it. I understand it's scared, but I'm not going to enable or help reinforce this stuff, right? So I would have your husband do walks. If he's down for it, I'd have him do the feeding by hand if possible, which means your dog would probably have to be pretty hungry in order for that to happen. Now, if you want to really step your game up, you only feed your dog from your husband by hand, and if your dog doesn't eat, your dog goes hungry that meal until he eats out of your husband's hand. We do fearful, aggressive, anxious dogs all the time that we use food to leverage relationship and build a bridge through relationship, but you have to get the dog hungry enough to where the hunger overrides the, I'm not so sure about you. So that's totally up to you if you've got the gumption to go after that, but it works like a charm, right? So husband does walks, feeding by hand. You can also tether the dog to your husband, right? So your husband may be like, whoa, that's way too much responsibility. Depends how much he's into it, right? If your husband's like, baby, this dog is so
young. Like, you guys, this is like, it's going to be a long haul of this stuff, so you might as well put in a little bit of time now. It sounds like he's pretty upset about the dog.
Yeah, so it sounds like he's probably pretty invested.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So have your husband tether the dog, which means like just tie the leash to his waist and just have the dog follow him around.
Yeah.
it gets rid of that whole like running away, escaping, and your dog's like, I just got to hang with this dude all the time, and it just kind of like erodes that like fearful impulse that the dog is feeling. So and then lastly, sorry if I'm putting you to sleep, Aria. E-collar training
Aria's probably totally
she's already tuned out. No, Aria's already, she's watching like
something else.
She's like Conan O'Brien or something like that. She's like, here's some real action and comedy. So e-collar training is obviously like, I'm going to be super honest with you. It's harder, but it's the best thing you can do for fearful dogs. And like when we had Ruby 2, and Ruby 2 would like pee, all the same stuff you described. I'd come around the corner, pee, poop, shake, run away, hide in the corner, all that stuff. I used e-collar recall over and over and over and over and over and over again to where I became Ruby's like best friend. And within a few days, Ruby was like jumping up on me and in my lap, and like with nobody else around, no safety net, nobody that made her feel good, just the mean old man. And well, I was creeping up on it. I was creeping up on old. So, but you watched Ruby go from being like a wreck, and I held her accountable too. Like it wasn't like kid gloves. It wasn't like pussyfooting around. It was like she would hide in her crate, and I would use the e-collar to raise pressure. And the concept is really simple. Whether you want to get into this or not, but maybe somebody can get value out of this. Is that she'd be in the crate. I'd already taught her recall. She's like, no, the crate is more comfortable than being close to you. I would turn up the e-collar, repeat the command. All of a sudden, being in the crate is less comfortable. Coming towards me is more comfortable. And we would do that over and over and over again to where she's like, you're the best dude in the world. So that is the very long answer. It's kind of a complex question. So you can pull from it what you will and what you want. You can try some things, fly them up the flagpole, see what works, see what sticks, throw them against the wall, whatever they say with all that stuff. And then let us know if you have any luck with any of that.
Cool.
Cool?
Thank you. Wait, I still have to introduce. Remember I did this last time?
No, did you? Oh, yeah.
And here she is.
Hey, guys. Question number 5. Oh, no. Yeah, 5.
Yep.
Guys, this is Enrique. This is our buddy from Savannah, but he's coming here to LA forever with us because we'll never let him leave. Question number 5, this is Ellen. Ellen says, hey y'all, I have a question about the Mini Educator 2-dog remote. One dog's working level is much lower than the other, and we're brand new to working with the e-collar. Is there a way to set up the remote so I have a typical static working level set for each dog, but still have the freedom to dial up or down on the fly as needed, depending on the environment and the time?
9.
I got it. All right, guys.
The answer is yes, it's possible. Totally possible.
Let's hear it, baby.
So, when you press the button here on 3 or 2, you will see it flash. That means it's locked. Once it's locked, no matter how much you move it, it's not going to go anywhere. See, if you have a 2-dog model, all you have to do is press the button of the dog that you want to lock. For example, dog number 2, press here, and then keep it pressed until it flashes. That means it's locked for that one. So when you press dog number 1, it will go back to the regular dial that you had. But dog number 2 will go back to the place you have locked.
So do you set it like if you want 25 for red?
Yep. So
you set it and then press down?
Press it until it flashes. Now it's locked.
Oh, cool.
Always double check. Make sure you move it around a little bit. Because sometimes I have made a mistake of not really locking it and oops. You know, so you definitely don't want to have that. So once it's locked, you will be able to go back and forth. The only thing that I do know is that if you turn off the e-collar, it will reset itself. So make sure it's locked every time you turn it on.
Oh, wow. So every time you turn it off and turn on, you have to reset it up?
Yes.
Okay. And that's good to know. Okay. Well, thank you, my lovely co-host over here. You did great. Do you realize, I just want to jump in, we're moving towards our 100th episode.
Well, yeah, we're on the...
Yeah, we're on the other side of it, right?
Side of it, yeah. Dude, awesome.
Don't try and take the wind out of myself.
Question number 6.
Excuse me.
All right. Hi, Sean and Laura. Do you have any suggestions on resource guarding?
Do you have any suggestions on mature behavior?
Child behavior. One of my dogs would guard her food bowl from me and growl if I try to take it away. So now I keep just a few pieces of her food and set it aside until she's done.
Don't like the trading game.
Then I do the trade. She gets the food and I get the bowl.
I don't like
that
it.
has worked, but she gets that way with certain... no, that has worked, but she also gets that way with certain toys and bones also.
Yep.
And she won't give them up easily. She knows to drop it and leave it, but when it comes to certain things, she won't give in without a lot of bribery. I don't have the e-collar, but I do have a pet-safe shock collar. I think she would respond to that if she had it on at the time. Would you recommend using this for the guarding issue? I just bought this dual set pet-safe collar for a few months ago, so I would need to correct either one of my 2 dogs if needed. What are your views on this type of e-collar? Thank you both for the information you share with us. Welcome.
Sue, you are so welcome. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not really sure. I'm betting, and you help me out here. I'm betting she's got some kind of pet safe actual remote collar, not a bar collar, correct? Okay. So if it's not a bar collar, I think we're in business. Now, pet safe, I'm not crazy about. You'll never hear me saying like, go buy a pet safe.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, for what you're talking about, there's a lot of simplicity involved with this because you've already taught your dog the behavior. So I think you can actually get away with your pet safe. So if you were trying to teach more like nuanced, complex stuff like e-collar heel or sit or place or down, I would say we can't use those just because they don't have enough level variation. I don't know what the pet safe has. Enrique, you know what the pet safe has as far as like levels? No, probably 7, 8,
5 or 10,
something like that, versus like 100. So your variables are really limited, right? So, okay, let's jump in. So you're all set because your dog knows drop. You've already done the work. You've already taught your dog what drop means. He knows. Drop means spit out whatever he's got, whether it's a ball, toy, food, anything, right? You've done that work. That homework's done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, if your pet safe is an actual remote collar, 2 shuttles in one night, they must have just got done with the orbit. Sorry, guys.
You could go. They'll hear you.
Okay. It's so disconcerting.
I know.
I hope they're flying to a nice place, though. I like to make sure everybody's feeling good and happy. So if your pet safe is is a remote collar and not a bar collar, then we're in business, right?
Yeah.
Which means we've got a pre-trained drop command, however you trained it, and then we've got a remote collar that gives us some different variables or different variations on levels that we can correct with, even if it's only 1 to 7 or 1 to 10, because this isn't a nuanced, super subtle thing, you can get away with it, right? So here's what we're going to do. Get your dog's food ready, right? E-collar's on, you've got your remote. Release your dog however you do your ritual, right? I prefer you do like watch our videos where we like raise the food bowl, wait till the dog like is giving you I almost said peaceful, a polite moment, and then release him with break, okay, free, whatever it is. Dog gets into the food, you step back, you say drop. And if your dog doesn't drop, meaning spit the food out and step back a little bit, you repeat the command and tap the button. Start at the lowest level. Yep. So if you got 10, start at 1, right? If your dog doesn't change his behavior, repeat the command, dial up to 2, drop. There's going to be a level, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, wherever it's at, that your dog is going to go spit it out, and he's going to back away from the food. And that's going to be your first kind of like transformational moment where your dog learns, holy mackerel, mom's got a power I had no idea about. There's a very huge, and let me know if I'm just totally bogarting this whole like episode, because I want to hear from you as well.
I've got stuff brewing. I'm ready.
Yeah, oh, good. Oh, good. Okay, she's brewing. So there's a big psychological, it just shows that I care about you, right? There's a big psychological, I want to make sure you're involved. There's a big psychological impact on the dog when the dog realizes you don't need to be competitive or combative or in its space to say, this is something that I want you to do and this is mine, right? So this is really important to hold on to. Dog's eating, you say drop, he doesn't do it, you dial up to a number that's valuable on your e-collar, your shock collar as you called it, let's call it e-collar, and tap the button, repeat the command again, your dog goes waka waka, that meant something right there, backs away, right? Now, you walk up. Now, here's a real quick distinction that I want to make sure you get. Dog's in the food bowl, you correct and you say drop, and he does this. That's not out, that's not dropped, that's not removed emotionally and physically from this item. Right. You're still in the danger zone. Do not grab that bowl. If your dog stays like, I'm going to do like let me pretend this is the food bowl. So if your dog's eating and you say drop and he goes like this, not enough.
Right.
Say it again and tap the button. And what you're looking for is this.
Total
Mom,
moving.
this is yours.
Yep.
I'm done. I've disengaged. At that point, you can reach over, grab it, remove it. Then you can go back and give your dog back the food, right? And I wouldn't do this a million times. I wouldn't do 1,000 reps. Your dog will get nervous and worried and freaked out about eating if you do a ton of reps every time you're doing feeding. But what I would do is probably like once or every other time you feed him, ask for 1 rep, right? It's a powerful, powerful conversation when your dog learns that mom can stand across the room and say, get your butt out of that food, drop that toy, let go of that sock, whatever it is. You will see profound changes, and you will see the possessiveness dissipate tremendously. So that's the way I'd go about it. Your job is to stay calm, stay cool, don't raise your voice. If your dog doesn't drop it, do not change your voice to like drop. Keep it nice and neutral so you don't add any fuel to the fire. Let the e-collar do the talking. Find the level that works. Your dog should spit it out, back away. Boom, you're good. Now you've started to change the psychological process where your dog is not guarding anymore.
Yep.
Do you want to add, seeing as you had a guarding dog for a long time?
I would like to add, all that's great. No, really, safety. So,
I thought you were going somewhere.
No, like, all that's great, but no.
And let me tell you the real thing.
It's safety with this sort of stuff. So we talk to a lot of at T3, at the training seminar that we do for trainers, and just, clients in general who have resource guarding. And this comes, I had a major resource guarder. My guess, we don't know how bad this is.
It doesn't sound, my intuition isn't that it's horrible.
Right, it's not horrible, but the fact that you have to trade food, and you've been doing that for a while, and you sound like a sane human being, it sounds to me like it might be serious enough for you to feel like, oh, I got a bribe, right? So, safety-wise, keep your face out of there when you're correcting.
Yeah.
I would be standing up or far away. Like, if your dog's got weird stuff about food and you correct, and you just never know. So you just have to be super, super careful.
Yeah.
Keep your face away, keep your hands away. If something goes awry, let's just get rid of this. If it's major stuff going on, you need to get a trainer in there, hands-on, to work with this dog. Yeah. No doubt.
If you're scared at all, you absolutely need pro help.
If it's just basic, like weird, like...
Because a lot of dogs will push that boundary.
Yeah,
a lot of easy dogs will push that boundary.
I've been in the shelter and gotten weird about people, or I'm just being bratty, and this just works, So it's really important, though, if you feel any fear stuff, just trust your gut with that. Keep yourself away.
Yeah.
Don't get right in their face or add any emotion to it. The e-collar is cool for that sort of stuff because it's a neutral correction for that.
And powerful.
Very powerful, very significant, and you only have to do it once or twice to have it be to create
profound change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have...
And you can also leave a leash or a long line on. Yeah. You can back tie. If you feel like the dog is serious, then back tie the dog to something firm. I think we got Indian food coming. No?
5 minutes ago I called.
Really? Oh, I was like, that's the express. I was like, because they know us. They're going to call anyways. They already have it ready. So think about it this way. You can have a long line. You can have a leash in your hand. Yeah. Anything that adds control if you're worried about it. And then you can also back tie the dog. And back tying is simply you take a 6-foot leash, back tie your dog around some kind of heavy article with furniture or something like that. And then you have the food, and as far as your dog can go. And that means your dog can never close the distance with you. So that's just a safety precaution that I think Laura was kind of getting into.
Yeah, safety. So you threw me off track.
Sorry.
I don't remember what I was going to say. But basically, safety stuff, making sure if you do need a trainer, that you get a trainer, that you get help for that.
Yeah.
man, I was going to say one more thing.
Well, if you, and real quick, while you think about that, if you need help, then email us or go to our website. We've got a bunch of trainer references on the website by state, right? And so if you do need help, if you feel like you're in over your head, like this program is so about like empowering you guys to do work on your own.
Yeah.
But there's also a heavy understanding of limitations with that, and that there's a lot of dogs that would, and a lot of owners that would be far better served by having professionals on board to help them work through problems.
Yep.
So like when Laura worked with Polar Bear, if she would have like been going through this program, you're a client that I wouldn't have wanted to try and do it on your own.
Yeah.
Your dog was too serious,
too
dangerous, and I think you could have gotten yourself hurt.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a real important thing that you have to really gauge. Like we get dogs, and I won't let this go too far afield, but we get dogs in with resource guarding all the time, like in like all these
Varying
different
degrees,
degrees. And sometimes it's as much as like a tap on the nose.
Yep.
Like the dog has never had a consequence, and the dog's like, I'll never guard again, right?
Sorry, yeah.
Sometimes it's as simple as that. Just a little bit of a consequence, and the dog is like, no one ever told me no before. And then sometimes you have really, really serious stuff, and you got to be super duper careful. So
the thing that I just remembered, and then we'll wrap this up, is a dog like that, no toys, no bones, hasn't deserved it at all. I think back to the times where I had, resource guarding dog, and I was like, he guards his like $8, frozen raw bone. I think back, I'm like, what was he doing with an $8 raw bone?
He hasn't earned it.
Gosh, no. And it'll take a long time for that dog who's growling at you. You put food on her table and put a roof over her head, and she's growling at you. So she doesn't get toys or bones? No. She gets her food.
I thought you were going to say a boot in the butt.
She could get a boot in the butt too, as long as it's safe. I mean, that's just not good behavior. I don't like that.
No, it's not good behavior.
Coexist
and the whole concept of us like wanting to give nice things to our dogs, even when they're like not behaving, is just something we really have to get a handle on.
Yep.
So, anyways, that is a very long, drawn out answer.
Right.
Arya's not going to be pleased about that
Arya's
one.
so gone.
So Arya's like, yeah, I was there for the first 2 minutes of that one. Thanks.
All right, cool. Thanks, Sue. Let us know.
Yep. So that wasn't Indian food 5 minutes later, huh?
Question number 7. This
Yep.
comes from Natasha
Radowski.
Radowski. Hi, Sean and the lovely Laura. Just a quick update on Bruno, our
How come
lab.
it's not? Hang on a second. How come it's not like?
Svelte Sean and the lovely Laura.
How come it's not that?
So weird. I don't know.
Maybe we need a graphic. Maybe the graphic is what seals it.
Svelte Sean.
Spelled. I like that. I like it. I like it. No sweets. Can I jump in? I know I'm like really like bogarting your like whole presentation. No sweets for how long? It's been a long time. Since I've been back from New Orleans, there has been no sweets. Pretty amazing for somebody who used to sit here and like literally like handfuls of peanut butter cups, like and Pop Tarts. I'll get bit to your question in 1 second. Like,
this wine is dessert, okay?
What? Okay. Anyways, continue on.
All right.
I can't win.
So just a quick update on Bruno. Just as Sean said, Bruno's after neutering skittishness is gone now 3 months after the surgery.
So cool.
She had told us that her dog had been neutered and then had some weird
We done a phone
stuff.
consult actually, and her dog was me and Natasha
that's
had
right,
really
wow,
she was really struggling with his behavior, and I rarely recommend anything with like neutering to try and address behavior issues.
Yeah.
But when it's like ongoing and you've tried everything else, it's something that definitely can have some help. And so she did it, and then he ended up being like
Getting
really
kinda
fearful
weird,
and skittish and freaked
yeah.
out. Good
So
news.
that's all back.
He's
Yep.
better.
We're still working on the leash reactivity and just recently switched to the Boss from the Educator Mini. In your experience, what probes or prongs work best for the lab's coat? Regular, thick fur, anti-allergic. I'm sure I have a good collar fit, but I'm getting unpredictable response with the same distraction level or with no distractions. He sometimes yelps and sometimes completely ignores it. And I'm working at level 60 to 75 on the Boss when he's off leash outside. Thank you so much.
Let's just say hot tamale. I want to let this be Laura's secret surprise question.
Stop!
This is an easy one.
I love this one.
Easy one.
Okay.
Go nail this one out of the park.
Labs are one of those dogs that you're like, oh, they look short fur because they're not like huskies or something like that. but they are, for me, one of the worst contact. One of the hardest sessions I ever had. It was just me, and I had this black lab that looked like a short-furred black lab, just like, oh, he's a standard lab. And I was outside for like 45 minutes trying to get a working level on this dog. And the family's sitting inside here. And finally I came inside and I was like, I'm so sorry. You guys can leave. Like,
I'm
I'll keep
incompetent.
your dog. Yeah. I was like, I have to
We have to
switch
do a
out
board and
contact
train
points.
for contact
yeah, I was
points.
like, he's not getting it. Like, all, you know, and that was a long time ago. So we've since found these awesome thick fur contact points.
Yeah.
So if you're having trouble with contact and you have a lab, I guarantee you those thick fur, not the long fur, not the ones that come with the e-collar, the longer ones, or the long like metal ones. I'm talking they're like this big. I don't know if this even.
I can grab one if you want me to show up.
It's cool. We've talked about it, but basically it's just they're metal and they have like a little tip on the end, and they're awesome.
E-collar Tech, right? Just go to E-collar Tech and just order from there.
And they're what is it? Accessories or something.
And it's honestly, ladies and gents, changed our world as far as like with challenging dogs with certain kind of coats. We used to have to do a lot of shaving. A lot. I mean, there's a lot of trimming, a lot of shaving.
Especially for long furred dogs,
It happened a lot, and it's a big pain in the butt because then you got to keep the trimming up and make sure it's like always, you know, good. And
it's just not practical. So as soon as we got those things on board, they don't look quite as like the other ones are black plastic around the bottom, so they look a little bit more like weird. But I know you don't care, so try that. Nestle it in good, and then start at 1 on the e-collar. You'll probably see, if you're at 60 to 70 now and you're getting bad contact, he's probably going to be around 8 or 10, like when he feels it.
I might say like 15 at the tops.
At tops,
right?
But
so 60 or 70 means you're having unless you've got some crazy dog, you're getting terrible contact.
When I was with that lab, that was what was going on. It was horrible.
Yeah.
So you're on a boss even, so.
Yeah, and the boss is hot tamale, right? So that's high-end stuff. So one thing I want to add to what all the great stuff Laura said was that because of the way these contact points are designed, they're fantastic. They get through the thick fur. They make great contact, but they also can add pressure sores more quickly than some of the others because of the tip on them is kind of short and thin and a little bit sharper.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, you have to be really cautious about how often you move them, just because the actual the distance, or not the distance, but the amount of space they cover is teeny tiny. So the pressure is really like
that little tiny little like pin.
Right, so you're getting all the pressure kind of in one spot. And so it tends to be an easier one to cause pressure sores with it. So just make sure, like, order those up, put them on your dog, get a good collar fit. You'll probably be like shocked at how well it works, how low your dog works, but then make sure you swap back and forth and like even up and down a little bit so you don't get any pressure sores with your dogs.
Cool.
Or
thanks,
your dog.
Natasha.
Yep, thanks. Rodowski.
Okay, question number 8. This is from Nita.
Yep.
Nita Hope. That's a great name. Anita Hope.
Yeah, it's a great name. Yeah.
Hi, I'm sure you're swamped with questions. This is mine. When someone comes to the door of the pack, 3 dogs start barking. That's okay with me, but the youngest, who's also more powerful physically, will then turn on the eldest female with a loud bark and teeth showing. I'm trying to get in his head. I'm sure it's a control issue and he's trying to climb his way up the hierarchy, but from a pack standpoint, his behavior makes no sense. How do I correct this? Thanks so much for the hard work and helpful videos and posts. Aw, Anita.
Anita Hope.
So sweet.
I need an answer. Boom! Okay, so Anita, sorry for the bad joke. So the first solution, and I kind of already touched on this in another question, is to train place command and reinforce it, right? You got 3 dogs, they're all getting excited, exuberant, nutty, and it's very typical stuff to have dogs rush the front door and not be in their best space because excitement levels, boom, through the roof, arousal levels through the roof, and then you get dogs like getting competitive and crappy with each other. So first thing would be train place command. If you want to do like what I would say is like a more comprehensive, less symptomatic, more like getting to the core of the issue. Now, that said, if you want to get into my second answer, the second answer is like, so you've got one main offender And that main offender is, I think, what is it, a male dog?
It's
That's
like a young dog, right?
a male that's going out, like, that's threatening bearing teeth at,
Yeah.
at an older female,
Yeah.
right? Like, come on, that's like threatening granny.
Yeah.
That's terrible. So here's the deal. I don't know what tools you're using, but this is a simple, easy fix. Leash and prong. Let your naughty dog, the offending dog, drag that around.
Yeah.
Then set it up if you can. If not, then you've just got to react whenever you've got people coming over. But the best thing, the way dog trainers do it, is we set it up so we're ready and prepared. Have people come to your door. If you're not training place and you're just going to let them freely roam, and that's kind of your lifestyle and game plan, dogs run to the door. You walk up calmly. You gauge what's going on. You see Mr. Snotty Pants raise a lip and show some teeth at the other dog. You say no calmly, and you pick up the leash and prong and pop to the side nice and firm and say, that behavior, we don't do that behavior. You can get as snotty as you want to get, not with that dog.
Yeah.
You can get snotty out in the backyard and chase like a ball around and whatever you want to do, but you're not going to go do that with another dog in my house. So this whole concept of like hierarchy, alpha dogs, dogs fighting for supremacy, that all comes from human beings allowing that gap, allowing that void, allowing that opportunity for dogs to start to vie for these positions, right? Which creates a lot of tension, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and a lot of ill will. So for me, if this was my house and my dogs were not in place and they rushed the door, and I watched one of my dogs evil eye another one of my dogs, raise their lip, show teeth, my goodness, they would rue the day. There would be such a consequence that they would never, ever, ever dream about doing that again. And I know that sounds maybe hardcore, but that's the way I run my show. My show is that I want my dogs to have a good time, a lot of freedom. I want us to have fun. I don't want us to have to be locked down at all times. But that trade-off is that when you make a transgression like that, when you make a mistake that's crappy like that, there's going to be a consequence that's going to be highly valuable. So leash and prong is the easiest way to do it. Of course, if your dog is e-collar trained and you've done conditioning with that, then you can also do e-collar training. Of course, you always have to be cautious with e-collar training that your dog completely, fully, comprehensively understands it, so he doesn't think the other dog is causing the correction. That's why leash and prong is easy. But I'm telling you, you walk up, somebody right? Knocks on the door, dogs rush to the door, you calmly walk up, dog starts to give that nasty stuff, pick up that leash, no, bang, your dog goes, wow. Being a snot doesn't work out very well. Sorry to sound like crass language, but like being snotty like that, you just, it's...
Doesn't work in your favor.
No.
It doesn't work. I mean, dogs do what works. And can I
Yeah,
jump in?
no, please.
So
please.
basically, with this, it's like you said, you don't mind them barking, which is cool. Like a lot of our clients get dogs because they want a little bit of a bark.
Yep.
I'm in the same boat with my dogs. So I don't mind having them do a bark if someone is outside.
Cujo show teeth to Hercules?
No. So,
Elvis style?
So that's the thing. That's the thing is that you've got to, if you're going to allow that stuff, the bark and the rush to the door.
The excitement.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to even say it's cool to correct, even though it is, you should do that. But if you think about it, like the excitement is amping them up. The young dog is basically telling you, I can't take this kind of excitement. The other thing is that dogs, like in a home like this, they're not protection dogs. They're like, you take a Cujo, like my Cujo, he's more in that zone, or you take another like more tough Malamon. They're kind of in that like, oh yeah, I can handle this. Like this is what I'm built for. But a lot of these house dogs, just because they bark and they are dogs with teeth, doesn't mean they're equipped for being
psychologically.
Protection. Right.
Yeah.
So he's getting to the door and they're barking, which is cool for you, but then he can't take it and he's like taking it out on your other dog. So to correct him,
That's a great point.
Obviously you have to. But our ultimate would be that they're not doing that. That they're at in place command, like Sean said. You're still going to get a bark or two. Also, if people come to the door or someone comes to your door that you're not crazy about, dog is going to override and they're not going to care at all about the place command or about you, and they're going to, they're not going to be like, oh, but I said, but this guy's coming in and I don't feel right about it and she doesn't feel right about it and I'm still going to stay in place. It just won't happen. So
does that make sense, guys? Like, I hope you guys get that. Like, there's so much concern about correcting your dog and setting rules and boundaries that if you do, your dog won't be a watchdog, won't take care of you, won't step up to the plate when things happen. Like, there's no guarantees. There's a lot of dogs that are too sensitive, and like if somebody was to like hit them with a stick, they would run the other direction. But the truth is, most dogs feel something when things get dodgy. I've been in the situation. I've been there with my guys who are like the friendliest dogs. They love everybody. But I've been there when somebody was coming after me with some pretty ill intent, and I watched these 3 sweet like cupcake dogs turn into very different dogs, right? So I think that you kind of have
in New Orleans, like Cujo's.
Oh,
like,
that's right.
Great with
That's right.
Civilians, like great with people, great with like. And I had someone come up that was not great, and he got serious. He got serious. So
share that story real quick. I think that's a really great story.
It's really quick, but basically I was sitting in
Jackson Square
in New Orleans watching this band play, and this homeless kid, you know, drunk or whatever, high homeless kid came up and started being like, oh, because Cujo was wearing his do not pet vest, and he's like, can I pet him? And I was like, I wouldn't. And he's like, can I pet him? I'm sure he won't do anything to me. And I was like, I really wouldn't. I would step away right now. And then he kind of came up and like got close to Cujo, and Cujo got.
So you tried to set a boundary, and he wasn't listening.
Oh yeah. He was high as a kite. So he got close enough to Cujo, and Cujo got super stiff and tense and stared him down. And I've never seen Cujo like that ever. And what I knew is that as he was coming closer, I was uncomfortable. I wasn't really uncomfortable that Cujo was going to do something, but I was uncomfortable with the guy, and I know that Cujo sensed that. So, and he's like, I don't want him rushing the door, barking at things. I don't want him doing that stuff. That's not what I want, but I do want a dog that obviously will step up, and they do. I just think that they're better
when
than
push comes to shove. Yeah.
Training stuff. So, anyway, I would, you know, if you still want your dogs to rush the door and that's your personal choice, great. But you do have to correct that stuff. But if you're like, okay, I see how this is a little bit unfair for me to ask for this and correct it, then let's get a really decent place command and make sure that they're not doing that.
The reality is that if you don't, what we see over and over and over again is that eventually dogs start to take matters into their own hands.
Yep.
And that's
what he's doing. He's like, I'm uncomfortable. She's not taking care of it, meaning you, no indictment of you. She's not taking care of this excitement that I feel weird, like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, no one's handling this, so I got to. And for a young dog, that's no good, not a good habit to get into.
And it's an easy one, not to cut you off, but it's an easy one for a young dog to channel that out on an older dog, because they know, they instinctively know the older dog doesn't really have much to like hold up against. So I would either you place command them and you get them all to be in a calm state, or you tell that one dog that's being snotty, knock it off and get it done. And you'll be surprised, like you lay down some consequences for those choices and watch that dog do the same exact behavior or the same exact like going to the door behavior without any of the snotty crap that goes along with it. It's amazing to watch how quick dogs will move through that stuff when there's consequences that are valuable. Nice answer, by the way.
Cool. All right. Thanks. Let us know, please. All right. Question number 9.
We're nearing the end of the number 58.
59. Kayleen says, for question number 9.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, it's a cool name. So it's a really long question, so I basically read it, and I'm going to paraphrase it, is that her dog was great. Her dog was e-collar and prong trained.
Pity mix.
Was a CGC, which is a canine good citizen.
Started off fearful. They did a ton of work.
And did great work, and then everything's great. Then Kayleen moved. And they're seeing some of the old fearful behavior. So a few months into their move, her boyfriend and her invited two friends over to their place for drinks. The dog was on place, and so she wouldn't rush them. as soon as they let the guests in, she started this horrible, fearful bark over and over while still in place.
Yeah.
I got her calm, but she was eyeing them and making that horrible sound. She even expressed her anal glands when a girl like reached to get food. It's like they'd never seen this before.
Yeah.
Right? So
Sounds
she's
like
just
Manny.
she's just saying it's scary to see her like she's placed in a new environment with new people. You know, after all her good stuff. Is there any suggestions to help her ease into the transition? Maybe it would be less stressful to her than having lie down on place while unfamiliar people she hasn't smelled or walking around.
Yeah, that's a hard one for me. I think that's the Indian dude.
You're so into this. Ooh.
You know it.
It's possible.
It's time.
All right.
Okay, so Kayleen, if Indian food comes up, sorry, we have to preempt.
Yeah.
We have to preempt. So here's my thing. My suspicion is that in time, if you'll...
Hey!
I think it's...
Nice and go.
I think it's Indian food time.
Yeah! Okay. He misses you. Do you remember his name? Hercules, right?
Hercules.
I wanted to get video of you with him.
Hercules, come here. Hercules.
You have dogs, right? You have them? You
Yes.
have dogs? Yeah.
Before.
Yeah. That's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
My apologies, because I have no idea where the hell I was. Do you have any idea?
We were talking about, you were just starting with like the fearful stuff. I
Right.
read the question.
Okay, my suspicion is that with time you're going to end up with the same great dog that you had.
Yeah.
Right? So what happened, you brought in a fearful dog, nervous dog, insecure dog, you did all this work, prong, e-collar, canine good citizen test, and your dog did fantastic, right?
Yep.
So it started out rough, unsure, insecure, freaked out,
Yeah.
and then you did all this work and you brought him to a really fantastic place, and then you moved, and the move, like, you know, it's not just dogs, but like moves freak people out. Changes of environment,
Yep.
changes of your scenery, changes of like stability, structure, things that we depend on cause a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. So I'm not really surprised that you're seeing some of this stuff with a dog that had a lot of experience being insecure in the past.
Yeah.
So my real, like, if I was a betting man, my suspicion is that if you'd go back to basics, like, I know you're talking about like bringing the dog to the door and letting him sniff and stuff. That doesn't sound like right on the money for me. And if it sounds more right on the money for you, then obviously you've got to honor it. But what sounds right on the money is going back to basics, going back to everything you did that got your dog into a great space. That's what I do. I would do all the same stuff, and I would bear in mind that all the stuff you're going to do is going to happen much more quickly,
Yep.
right? So back in the day, it took, I think you said, like 4 years to get the dog, like,
Yep.
it's only going to take months. That would be my suspicion.
Totally. It's like working out. Like you
The
get yourself
muscle
in
memory.
amazing shape. Yep. And then you take a couple months off because of an injury. When you get back to it, you're okay.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. It's not gonna take you 5 years to get in that amazing shape again. It's just gonna take a little bit. The one thing. Sorry.
No, please do.
The one thing I would be really, really cautious of is babying, giving too much affection, or oh my gosh, like you're feeling this way, you're scared. Let me like hold you,
Soothe
know,
you, console
soothe
you. Yeah.
It's just gonna make her feel so much more insecure
Absolutely.
at this point.
That's such a great point.
So I definitely see owners with like, I mean, it sounds like you've done amazing work. You've also gotten a CGC, which means you're really involved with your dog.
Yep.
You know, that's not just like a backyard dog. You're like,
Yep.
you're really involved. So you're obviously a dog lover and a dog enthusiast or dog training enthusiast and all this. So
Yep.
make sure that you're not taking this route of, oh my gosh, let's spoon feed her into getting better, because I guarantee you that's not what you did to get her better at the start.
100%.
Now she's in this new environment. If I were you guys, I would lock it down 10 times more than you were before. Like Sean said, go back to basics.
Yep.
Place command, all that stuff that was like
Walk in
heavily
the heel.
enforced.
Yeah.
Take affection away, no couch or bed, all that stuff that like, yeah, maybe she's worked into it now that she can do it and she can handle it now.
Yep.
But if you lock her down, like, look, Walker Texas Rangers back in town, no more like silliness. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's my.
You just took a sharp turn down Cheeseball Lane.
We used to watch that Saturday nights, me and my family.
Oh yeah, yeah. Little Chuck.
That's why, yeah.
Chuck spans generations
Yeah,
because I
he's
used to like hang with Chuck back in the day, back when you were just like gleaming your daddy's eye.
Wow, really?
Yeah, absolute. Chuck's like, what is he? 89 now?
Gotta be
something
89,
like that.
yeah.
So Kayleen, obviously, like this move has turned your dog's world upside down. Like there's just no getting around it.
Yeah.
And so you guys intellectually are like, yeah, we moved to a new place. We did that. We moved for this reason, and it's beneficial, and we like this, and this is worth this trade-off. Your dog has gone from a place of feeling like, cool, I finally got my bearings in a spot where I'm comfortable, safe, I trust what's going on, I know who comes through the front door, and all that's kind of changed. I don't want you to feel guilty about it. And like Laura said, the worst possible thing you could do is feel guilty, sad, bad, and try and console and baby your dog through it. Do all the great stuff you did when you started out to get your dog in a good spot, and you'll get him right back. And if it takes a couple months, that's cool. It's just adjustment. It's just adjustment time. So I'd say like kind of shift gears and take some of that like pressure and guilt and a bit of responsibility off of like, wow, my dog's in a bad space. Your dog just had a hard time in a new situation with people coming in a situation he's not used to. And I'd work to let that go a little bit and trust that if you do the work that you did prior, you're going to end up with great results down the line.
Definitely.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks, Kayleen. Let us know. Please.
Yeah, please keep us posted on that because it's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
So we don't get a lot of those.
Check in. Cool.
Don't you. It's okay.
All right. Question number 10.
Yes.
This comes from Irene. Irene says, hi, Sean and Laura. My dog. Oh, I swear on something. Oh, we missed one.
What?
Jolene.
Was that a...
Please don't help me because I know you can.
Was that a Jolly Roger? Was that a Roger?
No. You don't have to bring that up.
No. You know what?
Good job, Platz.
Yeah, you got a nervous dude here. Fact of the matter is, this girl next to me has lived 1,000 lives.
That's very
right?
true.
She's lived 1,000 lives. She's spent a lot of times in the minefield, or in the mines, I should say, like playing drums, playing gigs, and singing. Right? Was it just the two of you?
Yeah, but
right?
We had guests.
But did you have a drum machine?
Yeah, drum machine.
And real drums.
Yeah, it depends on who came in to play with us.
So you go back and forth.
Yeah.
But you guys would sing all sorts of classic tunes at the Roger.
Motown, a lot of Motown, a lot of like soul.
Yeah. A lot of people in the Motown, like graves spinning, oldies. Like just non-stop spinning.
They don't understand. I sing, so I would play at a gig, especially through college. Every Friday night had a gig with actually a teacher of mine from high school.
Wiggs.
Who's like, Wiggs, Mr. Wigglesworth is his real name. And he's like...
I'd go to Wiggs
60,
too.
60-something years old. The best guy ever.
Yeah.
His family's like my family. We're all super close.
Yeah.
And he played the guitar and loved like country and soul.
Nice.
I played the guitar and loved country soul. His son and I played together. We just had like, it's an era that I will never forget. But we used to play a lot of like old tunes.
You did a lot of gigs though.
Yeah, ton of stuff. And
I love that.
Jolene is not one that was on our...
That's
we like
such
a 4/4 beat.
I have to say, like Jolene, I remember like my mom was really into it.
My mom was
such a depressing song.
So depressing. My mom's like, this is the most. She almost named me Jolene because
Jolene.
It's basically like, please don't take him just because you can.
Yeah.
Please don't take my man. It's Dolly
it's
Parton at her best.
Is it Dolly?
Yeah.
It's a really horrible.
It's a depressing song.
It's a horrible narrative, right?
It's basically like, I know because he says your name.
I'm powerless.
Yeah, I'm powerless. He says your name in his sleep, but please don't take him just because he's in love with you.
Show a little pity,
I was here first.
Little mercy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's the saddest song ever,
like
right?
Like anti-feminism song.
Right, and just Dolly's just not in that front.
No.
Jeez Louise, it's Junior again.
Oh, is
it's,
it?
Yeah.
Dolly Parton is the bomb, best songwriter ever, and the
Yeah.
song is beautiful.
I forgot that was Dolly that did that.
But,
so
anyway,
we digress.
Yeah, we
big time. Shall we get into the last one? Come on, Irene. Yeah,
Okay.
Aria left a long time ago, and she blocked us.
All right. Irene says, my dog holds a pretty good heel when walking in the street, but if we're in a wooded area and he senses deer, there's no way I'm able to get him to hold the correct heel position without trying e-collar corrections at high levels around like 70 on the Mini Educator. It just doesn't faze him. It's like he's possessed by the scent of the deer. It's so strange that he'll do commands like sit and down, but he's performing the commands on autopilot while being fixated on scanning for deer.
Yep.
So I'm wondering, is there a biological limit to how much impulse control a dog can have? So when the limit is reached, the dog no longer has control over making the right choice, like staying in a heel, even though he's getting really high e-collar corrections. So I should not just stress about the heel in that environment.
That's some speed reading.
I
Right
know.
there.
I was just it's
nice
a long
work.
question. So
I like it.
I
No,
that
way to go. Okay, so this is an interesting question because like my inner dog trainer is like, you must adhere to the behavior, and like there's a part of me that's like, I'm sure this dog can do better, but there's also another component of this, and so that's actually what I really want to talk about. So you're fighting against like some really primal stuff, right? Lots of dogs struggle with like major prey drive, whether it's squirrels, whether it's raccoons, whether it's deer, whatever it is. It's a primal thing, and working against it can be very, very challenging. Now, could you go out there and make it your mission in life to like get your dog to heel in the woods around deer in a perfect position? You probably could. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Probably not. And there's a couple reasons, and I'm going to get into them, but I'd love to see you, like, here's the note that I wrote, and I think this is really cool because I wrote it. Personally,
it's awesome what I'm about to
this
say.
part right here is really great because I wrote this part. Personally, I just have him loosely follow you, right? So let's jettison the heel, right? This is such an important thing because dog owners, dog trainers, we get really caught up in details.
Yep.
And we get really caught up in protocols. Can you stop, man? Stop that. We get really caught up in details and protocols, and we get really caught up in like, this is what dog training is.
Yeah.
This is what success looks like. This is where my dog is behaving well. This is where he's not behaving well. But there's a lot of gray area in that. And like when you're out in a situation that's like in the woods, really primal, a lot of like wildlife and stuff that's fun and exciting, to be perfectly frank, and you could disagree with me, but to be perfectly frank, I would much rather you have a great time with your dog than like have this like ball busting, like you gotta be right here and we're gonna heel through the woods. Like, what about just having a great time?
If I made my dog heel at the park where there's surrounded by squirrels and other dogs and things that they want, it would be crazy making for me and crazy making for them. So they do great on our structured walks when we're in the streets and we're like down the sidewalk and everything's good. But when we go to the park, that's more of a loose kind of bubble,
You're about to steal words right out of my mouth.
I learned it from
You're
the best.
so smart. So check it out, right? So we have the choice. We can really hold our dog highly accountable to some behavior that's like militant, like kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, you got this dog to have a good time with it. And if your dog is respectful and responsive and will come back when you call them, like, I would much prefer you go out to the woods and you guys kind of let your hair down and have a blast.
Yeah, totally.
And you can use recall to keep your dog in a bubble with you, like Laura was just saying. She kind of stole my thunder. But, like, I know, it's okay. Manny, stop. So you can use recall as a follow command, and typically people think of recall as being something like dog's over here and I recall dog to me. But you can also be just like, moving. You could be walking like through the woods, and you can use recall as a bubble creator. And what I mean by that is like, Manny, stop. What I mean is that you're walking down a trail, you give your dog the release command, so it's to mosey around, fixated on deer. And when he gets too far, you say, Francis, because that's always the mysterious dog's name. Francis, come. Comes back, checks in, cool, break, let him forge out a little bit. He starts to get a little too far afield, just decide what zone you want him in. Do you want a 10-foot zone, you want a 15, you want a 20, you want a 30, 50, whatever it is, you decide, and then just keep him in that zone. And all you have to do to keep him there is recall him as soon as he gets to the edge, the boundary of that zone. Bring him back. And then release him. And really make it this like give and take. Make it this fun, like adventurous thing with you guys. And think of it like freedom with rules, right? Hopefully you heard that. Like freedom with rules, game with rules, right? You're out, you're gallivanting around, you should be having a great time exploring, your head should be kind of free, you're just walking through the woods having a good time. Your dog should be in a similar parallel space of like, man, this is primal, fun, good stuff. But when you need him, you call him and he comes right back. You release him, you send him back away. And don't ever let him get 4,000 yards away. Keep him in a nice little tight bubble that feels comfortable for you. But let's get rid of this like rigidity. Let's get rid of this like militant, like he's got to be right here. And if he's not, it's not good dog training. Or he's not responsive. Or he's not respectful. Or he's not prioritizing me over these varmints. It's a different thing if you're walking down the street and you need your dog to be in a heel and like in tight confines in a city situation, a city structure. I totally get that. And that's how I work with dogs. But in the woods, kind of the fun time. That's where you want to like let your hair down, have a good time. So it's kind of I'm kind of dragging the answer out, but like I would really love to see you guys let your hair down and have more fun with this. And if you've got the control through e-collar to get your dog back when you need him, then you really have the best of both worlds. You guys can just kind of let it roll, let it flow, and then call him back. Check them in. I think that's a good way to look at it. I know Laura does that when she's at the park, right? Let you guys go. They go gallivant, have fun, they play, they frolic, da-da-da-da. And then, hey, come check in. Everybody checks in. Cool. And then what do you say? Break. Let them go. Boom. And then they go out and do their thing. And it's just this like, it's freedom with rules, with rules. And I just think that would be a really nice thing for you to go with rather
Especially
than...
because they're like, I know it's the same. I could picture it right now with Cujo. Like, if he's out in the park and he's surrounded by dogs or things like in the distance periphery, or he's scanning for it all excites him, and I tell him commands. He's not that tuned into me. He's just doing them because he's supposed to.
Yeah.
He's just like, I tell him down. He's like he's laying down, but he's staring around the whole place. I'm like, oh man, this isn't really training stuff. It was just like,
but it's
doing
life
great.
stuff.
Yeah, and
it's life stuff.
And he's also doing great. I'm like, he's like you said, like if he's actually doing the commands, but he's checked out, it's probably a pretty good dog. So let's let him have some fun.
Right, like if he can be checked out and still responsive, it's pretty fantastic.
And just make sure your contact is okay. You know, if you're having to go to levels like that on your Mini,
What did she say? Shit.
Like 60 to 70, I think, on your Mini. So
really, that wasn't the boss one. That wasn't the boss question.
No, I think this was like higher. I think she said higher levels on her Mini.
Oh,
Educator.
no, you're right. To keep the heel, the heel like a precise heel. Right.
So
totally.
if you're having to do that, you may have to go up to a boss, or may check out different contact points, or or it could just be that's where you got.
Or it's just like in that context, you're dealing with, like I said, primal stuff, and maybe it's time to have a little more fun with it and a little less rigidity. And that doesn't mean your dog gets to just be willy-nilly. Doesn't mean he doesn't have to listen. Like I said, if you can really hold on to that concept of like freedom with rules, that becomes a very different thing. It becomes like, go have fun, and when I call you, get your ass over here. And then go have fun. And when I call you, get your ass over here. I mean, if you think about it that way, it's a really nice, balanced, respectful relationship where your dog gets all this freedom to be a dog. Not a dog in a heel, but a dog. Sniffing, having fun, doing its thing. But when I call you, boom, you get right back. So that's what I'd love to see you go for. And I hope within the context of your question, I hope we answered it, and I hope it makes sense, and I hope it's applicable to what you're looking for. So
Thank you.
I think so. I think that's, like I said, just to close out, I think it's really easy to get caught up on like dog training. Like, if my dog
Especially
can't,
if your dog's doing great.
if my dog can't do this, he's like he's sucking wind, or I'm sucking wind. I'm not a good owner, or something like that.
Nope.
I think there needs to be a lot more fun. My dogs go out, like, it ain't perfect all the time. We're having fun. There's excitement. There's distractions. It's just normal. Like, if we go out and we're doing something, you're gonna be distracted. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We go somewhere that's really interesting to you.
Exciting
You're
for
gonna
me.
be like, we
Shopping.
go to the Apple store. Like, good luck having a conversation with her. She's like, right? So, anyways, guys, that we're gonna wrap up. We got Indian food here, and so we have to set some priorities. And we got, and Aria is already like,
Oh.
Manny, are you like?
Oh my gosh. He literally I don't know if you guys can see, but he put his paw on my leg and he's looking up at me longingly. Oh, Manny.
I think what he's checking out is to see if you're edible. He's like, soft?
Edible?
I could chew this. Man.
All right, guys.
Anyways, guys,
thank you
so much. Thanks so much for the questions.
Yep.
Thanks for your patience. Aria, we'll be briefer next time, I promise.
Sorry, Aria. I'm sorry, yeah.
So, but I think it was a great, fun show.
It was.
Nice work, lady.
Work it out.
Nice work. And we're coming up on episode 60.
Number
so,
60,
like,
yep.
We'll see you guys soon.
All right. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.